Picture this. It's the end of the month. You check your bank account. And somehow, you're basically back to where you started. You made decent money. You didn't go on vacation. You didn't buy anything crazy. But the money just vanished. Like it evaporated. And you're sitting there thinking, where did it all go? You scroll through your transactions, and it's just this blur of subscriptions, convenience purchases, stuff you barely remember buying. And here's the uncomfortable part. This has happened before. Maybe every month. And you're starting to wonder if this is just how it's going to be forever. Here's the thing. The reason your money keeps disappearing isn't because you're bad with finances. It's because you've been trained, literally conditioned, to spend money on things that feel essential but are quietly bleeding you dry. And most financial advice completely misses this because they're focused on the big stuff. Meanwhile, these 10 categories I'm about to walk you through, they're responsible for thousands of dollars leaving your account every single year. And cutting them doesn't mean living like a monk. It means finally keeping more of what you earn. My name is James, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and the psychology of why we buy things we don't actually need. If you're someone who's tired of feeling like your paycheck has a hole in it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you spot even one money leak you didn't know you had. Before we get into the actual list, let me ask you something. When you think about wasting money, what comes to mind? Probably big, obvious stuff, right? Gambling, impulse, buying a boat. Maybe crypto you bought at the peak. But here's what most people don't realize. The real wealth killers aren't the dramatic mistakes. They're the boring, invisible, everyone does this, expenses that you've completely normalized. The truth is, you're not broke because of one bad decision. You're broke because of 100 small ones that society told you were smart. That extended warranty? Smart. That premium subscription tier? You deserve it. That brand new car? You need reliable transportation. These aren't purchases. They're traps dressed up as responsible adulting. Think about it this way. Imagine you have a bathtub, and you're trying to fill it with water. You've got the faucet running. That's your income. But what you don't realize is there are 10 small holes in the bottom of the tub. Each one is only dripping a little, so you don't really notice. But collectively, they're draining water faster than you can fill it. That's what these 10 spending categories are doing to your finances. You can't fill the tub until you plug the holes. And the frustrating part is, most people spend their whole lives trying to turn up the faucet instead of just looking down and fixing the leaks. Here's what happens in your brain when you make these purchases. There's a phenomenon psychologists call hedonic adaptation. Basically, your brain gets used to whatever level of comfort or pleasure you're currently at, and then it needs more to feel the same satisfaction. That new phone feels amazing for about 2 weeks. Then it's just your phone. That upgraded streaming package with all the channels? You watch the same 3 shows you always did. But your brain convinced you, in that moment of purchase, that this would make your life meaningfully better. And companies know this. They've spent billions figuring out exactly how to trigger your brain's reward system at the moment of purchase, not the moment of use. A 2023 study found that the average American spends over $12,000 per year on purchases they later regret or barely use. $12,000. That's not poor people making mistakes. That's normal, educated, well-meaning people getting systematically manipulated by marketing designed to exploit how our brains work. Let's run the real numbers on these 10 categories. First, subscription creep, streaming services, apps, memberships you forgot about. Average person, $150 to $200 a month. That's over $2,000 a year. Extended warranties and protection plans. Studies show you'll pay about 15 to 20% more on electronics over your lifetime for coverage you'll almost never use. Premium gas, when your car takes regular, 40 cents more per gallon, times 50 fill-ups a year, times 15 gallons. That's $300 annually for literally zero benefit. Brand name everything, medications, groceries, basics, versus store brands that are chemically identical. Easy, $500 to $1,000 difference yearly. New cars instead of reliable used ones? The average new car loses over 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. On a $40,000 car, that's $8,000 gone in an instant. And don't get me started on convenience food and delivery fees. That $15 lunch 5 days a week instead of meal prepping, that's nearly $4,000 a year. When you add it all up across these 10 categories, we're talking $10,000 to $15,000 annually for most people. That's not budgeting advice. That's a whole vacation, a funded emergency account, a down payment growing every single year. Now, you might be thinking, okay, James, but I work hard. Am I not allowed to enjoy anything? And there's some truth to that. I'm not here to tell you to never order DoorDash or that you're a bad person for having Netflix. Here's what's really going on, though. There's a difference between intentional spending that genuinely improves your life and autopilot spending that just sort of happens. Most of these 10 categories aren't bringing you joy. They're bringing you convenience you don't even notice anymore, status you don't actually care about, or insurance against problems that statistically won't happen. The goal isn't deprivation. The goal is redirecting money from things that don't matter to you toward things that actually do. Let me paint you a picture of what changes when you plug these leaks. Before, you see a concert you want to go to, but tickets are $200 and you hesitate. You check your account, do the mental math, and either say no or feel guilty the whole time. After, you see the same concert and you just buy the tickets. Because you know exactly where your money is, and this is something you actually want. Before, your car makes a weird noise and your stomach drops. You start catastrophizing about $1,000 repairs, wondering if you can put it on a credit card. After, the car makes the same noise, and you're annoyed, sure, but you know your emergency fund can handle it. It's an inconvenience, not a crisis. Before, you stay at a job you hate because you're scared. You're living paycheck to paycheck and can't afford the gap between positions. After, you negotiate harder, or you walk, because you have what I call walking away money, enough cushion that you're not desperate. That changes everything about how you show up. But here's something most people don't talk about. This isn't just about the money itself. It's about what financial margin does to your brain. When you're constantly stressed about money, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for good decisions, literally works worse. You're operating in survival mode, which means you're more impulsive, more risk-averse in the wrong ways, and less able to see long-term. So the irony is brutal. Being broke makes you make worse decisions, which keeps you broke. When you free up mental bandwidth by eliminating these money leaks, you don't just have more money. You think more clearly. You're more creative. You're better at your job. Opportunities that were invisible to your stressed-out brain suddenly become obvious. The person who stopped wasting $300 a month on stuff they didn't need isn't just $300 richer. They're a fundamentally different person in meetings, in relationships, in how they carry themselves. Here's where most people mess this up, though. They go scorched earth. They cancel everything, adopt some extreme frugality identity, last about 6 weeks, and then swing back harder than before. The trap I see constantly is treating this like a diet instead of a lifestyle. You don't need to eliminate all 10 categories tomorrow. Pick the 2 or 3 that are the biggest leaks, or the ones you genuinely don't care about, and start there. The other trap? Announcing it to everyone. The moment you tell your friends you're being good with money now, you've created social pressure that makes it feel like punishment rather than a choice. Just quietly redirect the money. No one needs to know. This isn't just about money. It's about autonomy. It's about waking up and realizing that half of what you spend on wasn't actually your choice. It was marketing, social pressure, and default settings making choices for you. Every subscription you cancel, every premium downgrade, every no to something you don't actually want, that's you taking back control. You're not just saving money. You're becoming the type of person who spends intentionally. And that identity shift is worth more than any amount you'll save, because it compounds forever. The real transformation isn't a fatter bank account. It's looking at your spending, and knowing every dollar went somewhere you actually chose. So here's the bottom line. Your money isn't disappearing because you're irresponsible. It's disappearing because the system is designed to make it disappear one small leak at a time. But now you see the holes in the tub. You know what's actually draining you, and the choice to keep filling a leaky tub forever or to finally plug the holes. That's yours. Your future self, the one with options, with margin, with that quiet confidence that comes from financial stability, they're counting on you to start today. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Today.